Hello again. Hope all is fantastic. If not, tomorrow's a new day. Anyway, today we're going to talk about some interesting fossils that have been found. Some are miraculous, some are unbelievable, some are just plain astonishing. So sit back and relax, and let's begin. First dinosaur tail found preserved in amber, the tail of a 99 million year old dinosaur, including bones, soft tissue, and even feathers, has been found preserved in amber. Inside the lump of a resin in a 3 centimeter to 1.4 inch covered in delicate feathers, described as chestnut brown with a pale of white undercarriage. Another one is spider caught in the act of attacking a wasp. Over 100 million years ago, during the early Cretaceous period, a type of orb weaver spider prepared to pounce on a male wasp that had become stuck in its web. Suddenly, a drop of resin fell from above, hitting the web just as the spider began its strike. The resin preserved the scene perfectly, leaving it frozen in time until 2012, when it was discovered by scientists in the Hokwana Valley of Myanmar. It is the only known case of a spider acting preserved in the preparation of zoologists who published the finding remarked, "This was the wasp's worst nightmare, and it never ended. Quite scary and ridiculous." Another one is dinosaurs fighting. In the lawless wild, it is not news that animals kill one another. Dinosaurs were guilty of this. In 1971, researchers in the Gobi Desert in Myanmar unearthed the remains of 2 dinosaurs, one trying to kill the other one. Exciting. However, there were no winner. Both dinosaurs either killed themselves or died after a sand dune collapsed on them, preserving their fossils in a battle pose that was unearthed 74 million years ago. The dinosaurs involved were the carnivorous Velociraptor and also the herbivore Prototraerus. Probably butchered that. The Velociraptor had come across the other dinosaur and tried making a meal out of it. Yummy. The other dinosaur fought back, kicking, starting that would become an unending battle. The Velociraptor struck its foot claw into the neck of the other dinosaur, damaging a vital organ. The Prototraerus responded by slamming the Velociraptor to the ground and biting its right arm. Researchers cannot verify what happened next, but consider it to be one of the 2 options of the case of the matter. Unfortunately, they didn't have Dexter to find out what was going on. The dinosaurs were either killed in an instant after a heavy rainstorm, sweeping a sand dune upon them, or both dinosaurs remained locked in the position until the Prototraerus bled to death from its neck injury. The Velociraptor was then crushed to death by the weight of the other dinosaur. Fat booty is the death of the cause. In this image, a T-Rex goes after a sauropod. In 1938, Roland Bird, a researcher at the American Museum, perfect name for that, found incredible interesting dinosaur footprints. The fossil was about 111 million years old, and it showed a sauropod and a T-Rex in a chase, like Fast and the Furious. Researchers cannot confirm what actually happened, but there are some interesting guesses. Some believe that the T-Rex was pursuing the sauropod and even bit at one point. The conclusion was based on the fact that the T-Rex missed a step, suggesting that it raised its leg during an attempt to bite the sauropod. However, others believe that the T-Rex was not chasing the sauropod at all, but carefully stalking it. The footprints were found in Glen Rose, Texas. Yeehaw! This image was a fish caught by a bird. Usually first flying creatures to feed on fish, flight-capable animals have been hunting fish ever since they learned to fly. Even the Dinosaur was the first animal to fly. It was not a bird, but a reptile, closely related to dinosaurs and crocodiles. These type of animal, reptiles, and dinosaurs are all categorized under a group called Archosaurs. In 2009, researchers recovered the 150 million year old fossil of the Dinosaur and an extinct fish as well. The Dinosaur had been going about its daily business of grabbing fish from the water when it was caught by the Abrosaurus. Abrosaurus grabbed it by its wing and pulled it underwater. There, the Abrosaurus tried to swallow the Dinosaur, which had yet to completely swallow the small fish it had caught earlier. The hunting session would prove disastrous for all of the animals intact. The Dinosaur was too big for the Abrosaurus to swallow, but the Abrosaurus could not eject it because the Dinosaur had struck it in its throat. All 3 sank to the bottom of the sea, where they were found 155 million years later. Unfortunate disaster. Another image was Snake and Dinos. No, not Anaconda with Angelina Jolie's father. Due to their small size, unguarded dinosaur eggs and hatchlings were always at risk of being gobbled up by adult or other small creatures. In 1984, researchers dug up the 67 million year old fossil of the extinct snake that was about to swallow a dinosaur hatching. The discovery was made in India. Researchers cannot confirm the type of dinosaurs involved, but they know it belongs to a group of long-necked herbivores. They suspect that it was a Dinosaur, but that is unconfirmed. Good thing the snake was going for a baby, not a large one. It would be a large snack, like a buffet. No one paid close attention to the fossils, even though they were mislabeled in 2004 when researchers decided to take a second look at the thing. The 11-foot Senjin had entered the sauropod nest where it found 3 eggs. One was hatching at that time. The hatchling was about 1.6 feet long that had yet completely leave its shell. The snake took position and was about to end the sauropod's short life when the nest was suddenly overwhelmed by mud, killing and fossilizing the hatchling snake and eggs. Unfortunate meal. 35 babies and a mama. That's a great song title, to say the least. The plant-eating dinosaur had been dead for over 125 million years. The dinosaur, although they cannot also be called the parrot lizard, a fully grown version of this dinosaur was about 3 feet tall, walked on 2 legs, laid eggs, and had a parrot-like beak and fed on fruits. However, in this instance, we had just 1 adult and 34 younger dinosaurs believed to be its offspring. All fossils were found in an upright position, indicating that they had been killed in an instant. Researchers are unable about their cause of death, but some theories are that the creatures were killed by a flood, volcanic eruption, or the unexpected collapse of their underground home. The discovery suggested that the dinosaur cared for the young after birth. How adorable. Which is rare among reptiles, but common with birds. This is another reason to believe that dinosaurs are closer to birds than crocodiles, because they had love, such as Valentine's Day coming up. Another lovebird triangle are these 2 Romeo and Juliet dinosaurs. Named for certain reasons, 75 million year old raptor fossils unearthed in Mongolia desert. The fossils of the 2-legged bird-like dinosaurs were found side by side. Adorable. The name refers to Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, because the dinosaurs are believed to have been lovers. From observation, researchers deducted that the male had just wooed the female before they were killed in an instant. How romantic. Researchers were able to distinguish the male from the female because he had a larger tailbone, which are evidence of a longer tail. The other raptor was incapable of flight, so the male must have used his feathers to attract females just as peacocks today. Unable to confirm the sudden cause of death, researchers have proposed that the lovers were killed after a sand dune collapsed on them. Another one is best preserved dino bones. Teeth, and other rare instances, fossilized tissue are usually all the evidence that researchers have to prove the existence of dinosaurs. Even the few fossils that have been found with flesh and feathers rarely resemble what they thought dinosaurs looked like when they were alive. So we can all imagine how surprised and impactful research were when they laid their hands on this 110 million year old dinosaur that looked exactly how the dino looked when it died. The fossil was approximately 5 meters long, 18 feet to be precise. It was found by chance in Canada. It was equivalent to the size of a rhino. They were huge, to say the least, about 3,000 pounds. The herbivore with thick, armored skin, complete with protruding scales, at a max of 2 51-centimeter long spikes in its shoulders protruding. The researchers believe that the fossil remained intact because of sudden, unusual circumstances that occurred after its death. A flood probably swept its bloated body and into a river where the wind carried it into the ocean. The dinosaur sank underwater in the ocean where it was covered with mud. Minerals in the mud reacted with its skin and turned it into stone with a mass preserving it. Beautiful. This is quite remarkable skin, actually. One side tangent, there has actually been another dinosaur that has been found that is the oldest with skin, I think, over 150 million years old, which is neat. I hope they have my skin preserved in 150 million years. I lotion every day. Anyway, the oldest flowering plant was proud of itself, to say the least. At 125 million years old, the Chinese fossil was the oldest flowering plant ever found. In 2015, a new guy bumped it off the throne. Found in Spain, sprouted flowers almost 130 million years old. This plant was underwater. The Cretaceous bloomer appeared to lack roots and petals. There were leaves, however, either arranged in spirals or opposite one another. The minute flower each held a single seed. Since animals did not yet disperse seeds, the pods probably floated in the water until they found and fertilized other plants. If researchers can find out exactly how this plant managed to procreate, they could avoid a modern disaster. Important crop pollinations like bees are declining. If Cretaceous plants had another way to pollinate themselves without animals and insects, the ancient alternative could rescue food production itself throughout time and history. Another one is a metal hell ant. The Cretaceous time had things called hell ants. Curiously, they were not related to modern ants. By the time the ancestor of living ants appeared, this group was already extinct. In 2017, a new species of hell ant was found in amber. The 98-million-year-old insect revealed creepy details that led some to call it a vampire. Indeed, the ant had enormous mandibles that pointed upwards like scythes. The fearsome mandibles likely enabled the ant to collapse a victim before sucking out its juices. Yummy, like a juice box. The jaws were not chew-friendly, which reinforced the vampire theory. As did a tube between the mandibles, the jaws also had threads resembling the trigger hairs found in living trapjaw ants. If anything brushes against the hairs, the ant's mouth shuts in between whatever it is. Best of all, Elvilda had a metal spike on its head. Somehow the insect took trace metals from its diet and reinforced its horn. Its purpose remains unclear, but it could have been used to subdue prey. That'd be an interesting Marvel superhero with Ant-Man. Anyway, the oldest bird voice box has been found recently. The human voice box, or larynx, is located in the throat. The larynx of a bird called the syrinx nestles near its heart. Little is known about the evolution of the bird's voice box. In 1992, Vega Island in the Antarctica offered a good clue. A fossil bird was found and named Vigorous Isa. In 2005, the species was classed within the duck and goose family. This was a critical find. The 66-million-year-old creature became the first confirmed modern bird to have lived with the dinosaurs. The fossil was yet to give away the biggest prize, though. When the bones were x-rayed for a new study in 2016, the team identified a functioning bird voice box. Not only was it the oldest ever found, but after comparing it with the voice boxes of 12 living bird species, it also became clear that the bird honked and quacked like a regular duck. The case was made that birds' voice boxes were present at the end of the Cretaceous time. However, they were nothing similar to older fossils. It suggested that the ability to sing arrived later in avian evolution, long after flight and specialized breathing became established traits. Turtles doing the dirty is another great find. For two unlucky lovebirds of turtles, they are in the moment of orgasm when they died. It seemed the turtles were pretty extreme creatures. They chose to breed while swimming in a volcanic lake. Hot. Literally. Several turtles in male and female pairs were found in the region from 47 million years ago. They appear to have been caught in the act of love-based triangle, and they were well preserved while doing so. The pair were found with their rear ends together, such as modern turtles today. Now you know. Another one is sea creatures giving birth. After sex comes the moment of birth. As we all know, this can be a dangerous moment for creatures, and so there are plenty of fossils which record unfortunate mothers who died in the act of giving birth. Sometimes these fossils can reveal a great deal about the living creatures that they once were. This sea reptile that was major predator in ancient seas from around 250 to 90 million years ago. Many fossils have been found of various versions of this creature, mothers with their young inside them and just after birth. Most of these show the young leaving their mother, tail first, which suggests they were born at sea. A quite fascinating fossil that was found was the moment of impact that the dinosaurs died. In North Dakota at the Hell Creek Formation, a whole ecosystem has been discovered with signs of how it was destroyed. When the asteroid struck the Earth, it sent up huge plumes of molten rock and dust in the atmosphere. Particles thrown to the sky turned to tiny pieces of glass called tectites that rained back down. At the Hell Creek site, these tectites have been found embedded in amber and even in the holes that made up the strong mud at that time frame. Earthquakes and tsunamis crossed the planet. At this site, masses of fish flung onto the land by massive waves as they were discovered. The gills of the fish still had debris from the asteroid itself. More work needs to be done in Hell Creek, but it seems like the destruction of the dinosaurs is suddenly a lot clearer. An ant with a parasite still stuck in its head. Gross. Somewhere in what is now known as the Baltic region, around 44 to 49 million years ago, an ant was paralyzed by a species of mite and then wandered into a pool of resin, preserving both forever. You probably wanted to kill that bastard. They ended up in the hands of a German amateur amber collector named George. He passed a chunk of amber to another archaeologist at the Institute of Evolution and Biodiversity Science in Berlin. Amazingly, the find is one of the 2 known examples of fossil mites preserved while actually attached to their host. The mite, identified by Dunlop as belonging to the genus of a parasite, sits atop the ant's head where it would have been able to feed as needed. The mite probably also laid its eggs into the ant's head, providing its young with transport to new hosts as the helpless ant moved through the colony. This behavior is similar to some mite species today, including those of the parasite itself. Prime suspect in the honeybee colony called a collapse disorder. While both creatures are remarkably well preserved, an air bubble trapped between the 2, making it difficult to narrow down an exact species. So what do you think of those fossils? Weren't they fantastic? My favorite is the well-preserved rhino-looking one with all that skin. That is quite neat because it looks like a dragon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for the new subs. Well received and all the likes. Thank you. Have a great one. Bye.